What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Black Professionals Project. My name is Kenton Hipsher. If you don't know by now, I am the CEO and founder of the nonprofit. And our mission is to educate and inspire Black and Brown youth via the professional journeys of Black and Brown professionals. And so today we have with us another awesome, amazing Black professional here in the Bay Area with your boy. You know what it is. And he knows a little bit about that Indiana 317 life. So I'm not going to say anything else. I'm just going to introduce him right here, Mr. Okenna Aruche.
Appreciate it, Kenton. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you joining the platform and sharing your wisdom, these nuggets of gold with these youths out here. So will you tell the people what your profession is and what industry you work in?
For sure. I'm a product manager and I work in the tech industry, specifically in health technology.
Okay, gotcha. So you dabbling a little bit in the COVID stuff, or are you outside of COVID?
I am in the realm of COVID. The company I work for, they provide telemedicine opportunities for physicians as well as telemedicine services. So physicians are actually using our software to communicate with their patients.
Okay, that's dope. Great. So look at that right there, y'all. That's relevancy and importance. He's out here making sure that you are healthy in these streets. So we thank you, first of all. Secondly, can you describe your ethnicity and then where your hometown is to kind of give the people a little bit of background on you?
Yeah, for sure. So my parents are from Nigeria, so I am Nigerian American.
Hey, let's go.
I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana as well. From the opposite side of town as you. I'm from the east side of town.
That's all right. East and west side, we collaborate now, right? We're not beefing no more. It's all good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're both in the Bay Area, so you know.
We made it out, and that's the important thing. We made it here to the great Sunshine State, and now we paying these extra high rents, but it's cool.
Yes.
Because we got mountains, we got elevation, and we got water. That's two things you don't get in Indiana. So.
Oh, for sure. It's just landlocked there.
So I'm happy with that, man. Welcome here. I'm happy to have you on the platform once again. So a little bit more about your background. Can you describe just what exactly a product manager is for those who don't know what that term means?
Yeah, so a product manager is, first of all, a jack of all trades. For the most part, you dabble in a lot of things within a company, but specifically my role, what I do is I support the products and services at my company. I work with the engineering team, a data team, marketing team, customer service team to make sure that our product is meeting the standards of the customer and that we're continuously innovating and iterating on that product.
Got you. So you're kind of like the center point for whatever product that you have to be responsible for, right? So everybody's coming to you to make sure that everything is aligned. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's an excellent point, right? Align. Product managers are all about maintaining alignment amongst a variety of stakeholders, right? So executive stakeholders, and then the R&D team, and then like the sales and customer support team.
Okay, gotcha. So for those of you out there, if you're interested in taking a little bit more responsibility, stepping up in the role and being a pivotal point in the company, product management might be something for you. Might be something for you to look into, but we're going to dig into it right now. So can you share with everybody, what a typical day in the life is for you as a product manager?
Yeah, for me, I wake up pretty early because I get a lot of messages from a lot of different people about a lot of fires, a lot of things to do.
How early is early?
For me, typically, I probably get up around 5:45 or 6 a.m. My company works, there's people as far as London, all the way over to the West Coast in San Francisco. So I might have to hop on a call to talk to somebody in London or New York or in Chicago or in the Bay Area. Throughout the course of the day, I spend my time on a variety of things. Like I said, interacting with the R&D team to put together stories and initiatives that we're going to work on to enhance or maintain the product. to work with sales and customer support to make sure that any of the needs or concerns, or if there's any bugs, that those are getting rectified or addressed. And then working with the operations team to make sure they have what they need to keep the product up to snuff.
Okay, gotcha. So, there's a lot going on in that day. I mean, you said like 5 a.m. to whatever time you in, which could be, I'm sure, 6, 7, 8, whatever, depending on the day.
11 sometimes,
Woo,
when you got to get done, you just got to get stuff done as a product manager. So, yeah.
There it is. Responsibility is key, right? Like, you get a lot of power, and of course you're getting compensated for that responsibility, but then at the same time they're relying on you to get your job done. So you just gotta handle your business. They don't really care, if you're up till midnight or whatever. As long as it gets done, it's done.
Exactly.
I see. Okay. So how did you get into product management? Because you and I talked a little bit before we started recording, but what's your academic path been? Sort of describe your education.
Yeah, for sure. So I attended Cornell University. I was there for 5 years. For the first 4 years, I got a bachelor's in biological and environmental engineering, hence the health tech profession now, the industry. And then for that last year, I got a master's of engineering. So this is a 1-year add-on that you can do at some schools. And I focused in engineering management. And I took a lot of courses that were about systems engineering, which is essentially putting a lot of integrated parts together. It's an interdisciplinary graduate degree where you learn about business, data science, technology, etc.
Okay. Yeah, I actually spent a summer at Cornell doing a research program there. So I've been on the engineering quad. I've been on the whole campus. I know everywhere that you may mention, I've probably spent some time there. And thankfully, I was there in the summer, so I didn't have to deal with them winters.
Yeah.
But man, props to you for dealing with that, because that is the second thing that they don't warn you about. The first thing is how difficult that school is. The second thing is them winters, because they ain't no joke.
Yep. Hence why I'm out here in California now.
That was the number one reason why I moved out here. Was I couldn't stand the Indiana winter. I was done with that. I went to grad school in Georgia. I got some heat, and then from there I was like, I'm not going back.
I feel it. Can't do the humidity, can't do the cold. California's perfect.
It is, man. It's like 70 to 90 every day. It never gets out of that range.
That's ideal with a breeze.
Exactly. I don't know. We're out here selling California to y'all for free. So California, if you watching as a state, make sure you send your boys here some money, because we're plugging for y'all. These rents ain't cheap, but the views are worth it.
They are certainly not cheap.
So what are some of the things that got you interested in product management? Because, having an engineering background, not technically doing engineering today, what gets you excited about your role?
Well, like I told you, I do a lot of different things through the course of the day. And I learn something new every day in product. I learn what people are doing in the operations teams, what people are doing for customer support. I learn what executives do, how they're planning strategy. So I get to wear many hats. And for me, I don't like monotony. I don't like repetitive tasks. So this always keeps me on my toes, keeps me learning. And I had a pretty interesting pathway into product management. I didn't know I was heading here at all. Pretty much what happened was my older brother, who went to Rose-Hulman like you, he ended up being a product manager at CBS Interactive, and he was generous enough to provide me an opportunity to work with his manager to provide me an opportunity as an intern one summer. So I went from New York to LA. I worked as an intern at CBS Interactive. I learned everything that was going on there, and I really loved it. I actually shifted to project management for a little while. Didn't like it as much. And then I shifted back into product. I worked my way back in because it just didn't feel right to be in any other functionality than that. And from then, I've been doing it. I love it. Like I said, it keeps me on my toes. So
For sure. So what is the difference between project management and product management? Because those two things can easily be misused.
yeah, so there's some overlap depending on what company you work at, right? So, but typically the differentiator between a product manager and a project manager is, as a product manager, I'm referencing dashboards with key performance indicators and metrics to assess how products and services are doing. And based off the trend of those metrics, I'm taking action with all these teams that I alluded to rectify or improve the performance of those KPIs. If I was a project manager, I might do some coordination, right? I might create timelines, I might ensure some alignment, but I typically don't work in the strategy of the initiative, right? Typically, product and project, they would have a sort of healthy tension. As a product manager, you want to get a lot done, right? You want to maximize your product. So you want to put as many initiatives into a backlog or into a quarter as you can, right? But if you're a project manager, you want things to stay pretty sane, stay pretty settled. You want to be calculated. You want to be able to predict what's going on and ensure that like there's no fires or any unknowns popping up, right? So project managers are going to dwindle down that backlog that a product manager would like to have.
I see. So you're pushing hard to get things going and make progress, whereas they also want to make progress, but they want to do it in a more controlled fashion where you kind of have to deal with everybody. So you want to try to do as much as possible.
Exactly. And specifically in tech, project managers, you will hear like Scrum or Safe a lot, or Agile. They'll make sure that the team is working, like I said, in a predictable fashion, right? Something that can be measured and improved on. Kind of like what the product manager is doing for product and services, a project manager will do that for the team in the process.
Okay, I got you. Cool. So working in product, I personally know this because I've talked to a lot of product managers. There are a lot of obstacles that you guys have to face. I mean, you guys are really dealing with a little bit of everything. So what would you say are 2 to 3 obstacles that you've run into as a product manager in your career?
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, actually, I'll start with one that I haven't necessarily ran into as much because of my engineering background. And that's the ability to dive into code or anything technical. Depending, you can be a product manager at a lot of different companies. You can work on hardware, software. There's a lot of products that you can manage, right? But specifically, if you're in technology, you need to be able to understand code to an extent. So for some people who enter into product from non-traditional product backgrounds, I don't even know that I would say there's non-traditional product backgrounds, but maybe non-technical backgrounds, that can be a bit of a challenge. Additionally, and these are the ones that I've had issues with, if you have lack of mentorship or absence of mentorship, it can be hard. You do a lot of experiential learning when you're in product. So being able to have a mentor inside your organization, outside of your organization, having a good manager that can kind of make controlled situations for you to fail and learn from your failures is really good to ramp up very quickly. If you don't have that though, you might fall and you might really mess some things up. So if you want to enter in a product, find a company and a role in a team that is going to allow you to fail and to learn without messing too much up. And then the third obstacle that I would list is navigation of office politics. So
talk about
there are
it.
technical skills, right? Like I just alluded to, but soft skills really matter. How you communicate with people to get stuff done, right? How you're able to influence and storytell. All those skills are very critical to getting a lot of these initiatives completed. So if you come in, and this is kind of like the myth about like being a product manager, that you're a CEO, like you're a mini CEO. I'd rephrase that. You're a servant leader, right? You need to do what you can to make sure that operations can run without, any fears of things blowing up, that the engineers can execute on your stories efficiently, right? That sales and customer service can go sell your product and then actually get people to keep paying for your product. And you also need to be able to communicate up to executives, right? And tell them what they need to hear about the performance of the product, right? So that they can adjust their strategy accordingly.
Yeah, that's something that I've run into in my own career. Really, is office politics, because you have to deal with it anywhere you go. Anytime you're working for someone, you have to deal with the politics. That's just what it's going to be, and it's a very delicate thing to navigate. But at the same time, it's like you said, it's very crucial to really hone in on those soft skills, because at some point you're going to need that person to get something done, either whether it be get something approved or pass something through in a meeting. You're going to need that person, so you don't want to burn any bridges.
That's for sure. And something that people don't necessarily think about too, when it comes time for like a promotion, right, or some sort of beneficial role that you might be up for, if you navigate office politics correctly, then you'll always have an advocate in the room when you're not there, right? And that's a powerful.
That's the key right there. That's a nugget of wisdom for y'all right there. Don't burn them bridges. And secondly, comment your code so we know what you're doing and what you're talking about.
Yes.
So, even though you had those obstacles, I mean, you mentioned, just having the variety and the responsibility to handle a lot of things is something that's very exciting about your career. But for somebody on the outside looking in, what would you say is one misconception that they may have about your career?
So, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, like you said, like I have a lot of power. I don't have power. Like I don't have direct authority over the engineering team, the operations team, the support team, sales, or the executives. Of course not, right? Because they're above me, but you don't have power. You have to influence. Like I said, like you have to be able to communicate effectively and align people, not only align, but really to motivate them to get this done and to see why it's going to be beneficial for the firm that you work for.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So in a sense, you are also sort of like a salesman, because that's what I tell everybody. It's kind of like you're a salesman no matter what job you do, because I work in sales and that's what I do for a living. But you may be a product manager or be an engineer or a scientist. You still have to sell your ideas to people. You still have to convince them and, like you said, influence them to make sure that you're making progress in the ways that need to be done.
Yeah, you bring up a good point too, especially in my interactions with the data team and the engineering team, right? People think maybe like product, we just give them things to do and they do it. That's not always the case. A lot of initiatives at companies to enhance products or services come from engineers, they come from data, they come from customer support. And it makes sense because they're the people who are dealing with the product and service, right, from different vantage points. So they're going to know how to enhance it in the best way possible, right? I'm, in a sense, a layer removed. I should be testing things. I should be knowledgeable about what's going on, but they're really experts. So they're going to know what needs to be done, and they're going to be coming to me and vouching for their initiatives to be prioritized.
Again, that's another thing that we've echoed a lot in our platform is learning how to navigate in a room full of experts. Super key, because you're not going to be the smartest person in the room all the time. And even if you are, you may not be the most experienced person in the room. And sometimes experience is more valuable than knowledge. So, really learning to balance those soft skills with your technical knowledge is critical.
Powerful.
So very much so.
I would say, man, just to add on, empathy and listening are probably two of the best things you can bring with you and into a room of either your users or experts. If you're able to empathize and listen, you can get a lot of stuff done.
For sure, yeah. And that's more important for you even as a manager, because somebody that's really leading people, you have to empathize with them, because everybody's not going to be on their best 100% of the time. Everybody's not going to come in happy. and you got to know how to deal with that, and how to get them motivated, like you said, or just understand and how to rearrange the schedule to make it work.
Exactly.
So we're almost done here already. It goes by really quickly. But one of the questions I always like to ask people is, what is one piece of advice, at least, that you would like to give somebody who may want to follow in your footsteps or may want to pursue a career like yours?
In the spirit of product being so spontaneous, I'll give a couple. So I already alluded to having really good skills when it comes to listening, developing your storytelling, being able to maintain composure and reduce your ego. I'll say those are all skills you want to build on if you want to enter into product. The other thing I'll say is product is really hot right now. A lot of people want to get into product. So you got to differentiate yourself, and you have to network so you can find that right team, that right mentor to get in that product.
Yes, just so many good things you said right there. A couple I want to point out is, reduce your ego. That is really key, because a lot of people come in thinking, like, I'm the new person, I got to prove something, I got to come in here and do work. And yes, you do have to prove yourself, but even more than that, you need to learn to work with a team. And that requires you to reduce your ego. And that's not to say that you need to come in and, be overly humble to the point where you're not taking credit for the good things that you're doing, but you need to learn the balance of celebrating your successes while also making sure that you're hearing everybody in the room.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And the second thing that I wanted to point out was really just, networking. Networking is so crucial. I tell people this all the time, and everybody's personality types are different, right? Everybody's not an extrovert. They're not super social, but networking is something that everybody has to do. Whether if you like talking to people or not, you need to learn to do that in a professional setting at least. And that's going to take you much farther maybe than what you know or what degree you have, because you never know who you're talking to and what connections they have. So, if you guys are not the best networkers and need help with networking in particular, then I'm going to release a guide for you guys on how to network, and that will have even a script in it and different responses based on that script that you all can use to then further your network and really grow your professional self to get to the level of success that you want to get to. So you guys can look forward to that in the near future. So here at the end, I just want to open up the floor to you to give any closing thoughts that you have, any shout outs you want to give, shout out to the moms, to the pops, to your brother, anybody like that you want to put out there, or other content that you're working on that you want to share with us on the platform. You may be like a DJ on the side. I don't know.
Well, I'll give a couple of shout outs. So definitely to my family, in particular to my mom. My mom, like I told you before the call, kind of similar to what you're doing here. She made a very conscious effort to introduce my brother and I to a variety of career paths. As we were like little kids from elementary school all the way up to prior to our entry to college. And I think that's been pivotal in my success as an adult. Secondly, shouting out my brother, because my brother did get me into this industry, like I said. He's a real whiz when it comes to product too. So I appreciate him for doing that. And then to all the programs that I attended, that got me to where I am. So I believe there's MEET at IUPUI. There was another program for biological sciences at IU, Catapult with Rose Holman. And I also want to shout out to the diversity programs in engineering at Cornell. I think they do a great job at this same sort of initiative, right? They bring a variety of underrepresented minorities and women who want to come into tech. They show those students in the high school all the variety of engineering careers and fields that they can be involved in. So shout out to all those organizations. Shout out to you too, man. This is really important. I think having awareness of where you want to get to and being able to like speak to that every day will lead you there, right? If you don't have a destination in mind, how are you going to start the path to get there? You would be walking aimlessly otherwise. So I appreciate what you're doing.
It's a whole word right there, y'all. I hope y'all took that in. If you didn't, rewind and watch it again, because he just gave y'all a whole word. So,
lastly,
go
shout out
for
to
it.
my dad. I don't want to forget the last member of my family. Shout out to my dad.
Definitely got to put pops in there. They don't get no love. Father's Day is trash. All black men are trash. We don't get no positivity out here. So make sure you shout out the pops.
I got to show them some love too.
We appreciate you, man. And we thank you for coming onto the platform. You guys, as you all know, we really do try our best to get as many careers as possible on here to try to bring awareness to them and representation, so that you guys can see there are faces out there that look like yours. There are stories that sound like yours, and there are paths to get to success. And there's more out here than bouncing a ball or rapping into a mic. There are many other things that can get you, one, paid, and two, make you happy. And if you find what that is for you, ultimately your life will be a success. So with that, I'm gonna look to the camera as I always do and tell y'all, like, comment, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another episode of the #Black Professionals Project. My name is Kenton Hipsher once again, and we will see you guys next Monday as we do with yet another episode. So stay tuned for that, and we will see y'all next week.